Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to explain a little bit more in detail about having a router connected directly to your computer without that router being connected to the internet, to kind of dive in a little bit more about that. So what you can do if you have an Ethernet connection to your computer, you can buy one of these devices. And one of these devices is like 10 bucks, right? So if you have an Ethernet connection and you just want to have a router that's direct for just VR, you could definitely do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to share a connection to it, and we're going to explain kind of an easy way to do that. So in here, I'm going to kind of go back over a little things here, and this is the router. Okay, we're basically last time is we decided to use a Wi-Fi router, like a normal typical router mode. So if you get like a cable modem with Wi-Fi built into it, or a DSL modem with Wi-Fi built into it, or just a regular router that you don't want to connect to the internet, you just want to connect it from the router to the computer, and there you go. And then if you go to like Wi-Fi settings, you can connect up here. See, I have Wi-Fi 5, and there you go, and Wi-Fi 6. You can also like dive in deeper in here. So what you could also do is you can go to Wi-Fi settings, and you can like adjust the this channels and things like this. This will actually help you with your speeds of your connections, so you can get up to like 168 megahertz. With the Puppis, you can only get like 80 megahertz. So if you see here where it says 80, so that's pretty much it there. So if you set it up like a standard Wi-Fi, and then now you have a connection to the thing. So what I want to do is I want to share the internet connection to this point. So basically I have my 2.5 gigahertz gigabit, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet adapter connected to the USB-C port on my computer. So if you go here, you press properties, you go into sharing, and then you can go into Ethernet 1. The Ethernet 1 is the main internet of my service here. So if I click OK, if I go to status, yeah, okay, perfect. So it should be here, properties, sharing, Ethernet 2, an error occurred. Sharing was enabled, but internet connection cannot be enabled. A LAN connection is already configured with the IP address that's requiring automatic IP addressing, which that doesn't make any sense. So if you go to status, it's 2.1. This is status 3.7. So it is sharing the internet access actually, but this one is sharing that internet access as well. So you know, it should work. We'll go to properties. Let me go back in here. It probably won't allow two connections at once. Because it's already being shared. So that's okay. We'll just do this. Just for no reason whatsoever. We're going to connect it to another network, which isn't even, yeah. So this is a different LAN network than this one. Okay, so we'll just do this. We'll go to properties, we'll go to sharing, and then we can connect to Wi-Fi connection. Maybe I can properties, sharing, share with Ethernet 3. Is that what it won? Yeah. Let's try it that way. Internet connection cannot be enabled and LAN connections are already configured with an IP address. That does not make any sense because their IP addresses are different. 2.1 and then this is 2.1. If you encounter this issue, just reboot your computer. It should be fine. I'm going to disconnect from this Wi-Fi. I don't really need this on. Okay, so let's go ahead and connect up the Pico to the internet. So that's how you would share it. I wish I could like do a better, show it a lot better, but whatever. Gonna go ahead and connect it to the Wi-Fi 5G connection only. It's gonna say no connections, and then all I have to do is open this up. And then it should show my computer automatically, and I am connected through this connection to the thing. And if I go through, say, my web browser on my computer, I'll try Google, I'll just try Google Translate, and the internet shouldn't work at all. But if you share the connection, like I showed you, it would share it'll share the internet connection and work just fine. But yeah, so, but anyway, with Pico Connect, you don't really need the internet. You can just open up web browsers and stuff like that here, and it'll work out fine. I believe this one's actually pretty sweet, and that the connection doesn't lag at all. Let me see if I can grab this and move it. Yeah, that is responsive. I can see it working perfectly fine. So yeah, just right click and share the connection or whatever you have. Not typically, you don't have like a one of these connections. Another thing you can also do is you can, if you have a router and all that, and you have an Ethernet port, you can just plug into the back of your switch. That's another thing I can show too. I know I'm kind of rambling, but there's no reason to really be doing this way. If you have it on the same IP address as your, so let me like write down a notepad here. Let me open up a notepad. So if I go in here, say if you have like, my network is 192.168.1.1, and that's my router. And then say I have this extra router here that's sitting in here, and you have an Ethernet port to your computer. What you do is you would type in 192.168.1. You'll just set it to like this. So you would go into the router like this, and then you would go to LAN settings. Where's the router? We could do that here real quick. Let's do it here because this is not a big deal. So what I can do is let's set it up that way. So we'll go to internet settings. That's normal. Network status. Client configurations. You see my Pico here. You go in here. I'm looking for local network. So network settings and LAN. Okay. So what we can do here is you can actually set it up to be a 1.100. So you want to save that 100 down somewhere so that you can remember that it's there. Then you would turn off DHCP, and then you would then save. And then what that'll do is it'll turn off the thing. You don't need to, now your internet's going to work through it. You can then disconnect the Ethernet port that's on the back of the computer. or the USB dongle, because I don't really need the dongle anymore. So if you have an Ethernet connection running, this is probably the better way to do it. You can do any cable modem or router, like anything with a router functionality, because what you're going to do here is you're going to plug the network internet connection from your network. You're going to plug it in to you're going to plug the internet into the back of this one, but under one of the LAN ports, not the WAN, W-A-N, but the LAN port, because I am setting this up to be a device on the network. So what we'll do now is, now that it's rebooted and everything, I can remove the USB dongle because I don't need that anymore. And I'll show you that in just a moment. And then I'll unplug the internet from the computer. So the internet should not work anymore. So let's see here. Okay, so that one wasn't it. Let's see if it's this one. Is this it? Let's see. Okay, so we're going to plug this one back into the network. I don't know where this one goes. This one's probably the main internet. So now I should have access to should work. Oh, here it is. Okay, cool. So now I have it through here. And now if you go and you look into my control panel, you only have these networks now. So now when you connect up, let's look at the clients now. So now I have more people on my network. And then I can connect my Pico back up to the network here. And now my internet should work fine without a bridge. So if I go back in, Pulse, I don't want to connect to Pulse. I want to connect to, say, 5G only. I am connected to 5G only. And now I can go back in. And I should theoretically see the Pico. Okay, so I might have to close the Pico app and reopen it. Let's try that. So let's... Okay. Because it should just show up now. Available devices. Come on. If I open up a web browser, the internet should work now. Google Translate pulled right up. Pico Connect. Can I close Pico Connect? Or can I open up another app? I'll open up another app. Continue to open. And then go back. Pico Connect. I don't know why it's not seeing Pico Connect, because I am connected through the same network without a firewall. This does not make any sense. Because I am connected through here to here. I am connected in through this port. Ethernet. No network access. What the fuck? Okay. it's not liking how I have it set up. Unidentified network. How? It's literally not the correct IP. It's not even getting an IP address. That is so weird. Let me try reconnecting it in a different manner. Just give me a second here. Oh, that's what happened. Okay, so I'm plugging this one back in. This one plugs into here. This one plugs into here. I had a cable plugged in wrong. Okay. Okay. It should now work. Status, details. I was like, what the hell? Why isn't it working? Okay. I was tripping because I didn't have my connections correctly. Okay, let me open this one back up. I was like tripping out, man. Because I was like, why? This works every other time. Why would it change? There's no like science or rhythm to it. Okay. So we're going to reconnect back up to the correct network. Okay, perfect. POS just showed up. Cool. Yeah, so I just had I had actually an Ethernet cable looping into itself, so that's why it didn't work. But now it's working fine. And yeah, so basically how I have this set up is I have the main router. Then I have the switch or the router in the room. And then I have my PC connected to the router in the room. So basically, if I had like I wish I had paint. So to kind of illustrate, I have my router. So this is the main router. And then it goes to the room router or the VR router. And then it goes to my PC. And this is how I have it set up now. And this is 1, this is 100, and then this is whatever IP. What I had before was this. I had the main router, and then I had my PC, and then I had let's undo that. Then I had the VR router, going to the PC, and that's how I had it set up. And then the power cord, I don't really need that. So then I had this set up to 192.168.2.1 as a normal typical router. And then I had this is a 1.1 over here, and then the PC was on 1.1 network. So this was like this way. And then what I did was used a USB-C Ethernet adapter on the computer. So doing it this way, you actually open up extra Ethernet ports in your room, and you can connect like multiple computers to it. The way that we had this before, the way I had it at the very beginning was kind of using this method, which is good. But this method you could also do PC Wi-Fi. And this is the PC, and then the VR router. And then you share the network connection inside the computer to the internet if you don't have a cable to the router, right? So this is the way you could do it too. And this is the same as this pretty much. But that's how like I had you set up yesterday. But this is actually the preferred method. You can actually, there's some routers that have this method built in. It's called, you can add it into a, you can actually add it into a switch mode. So like if you go into the router and then you go to router, if you go into more settings and then working mode, I can go to AP, and then this would basically turn these Ethernet ports into basically what I did. So like, but because I did it this other way, you can set up a router to become an AP without setting the switch over here to put it into switch mode. Switch to that mode. You don't need to really do that, because what you could do is you could just put it in one of these 3 ports here and have it do the same thing as this one. But anyway, that's neither here or there. You just gotta so if your software in your router doesn't have access, if you don't have an AP mode in your router, you could just use your router mode and just don't use the WAN port. You just use the LANs, and it sets it up to be just like the access point with just this way. And then I showed you guys how to set it up and how I changed it and whatnot. But this, hopefully this is helpful. I kind of rambled a little bit, but it does make sense. I mean, if you have it this way, you don't have to use a USB. If you do it this way, you don't have to have a USB-C, since if you're using 2 Ethernet ports, it doesn't really make any sense to tie up a USB port on your computer. But yeah. What's really cool about the Pico though is you can actually use an Ethernet, USB-C to Ethernet, and you can get a hub and you can plug into your network that way, and you don't have any lag at all. But that's up to you. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I know this is a longer video, but I hope I was able to cover a couple things that were kind of interesting with networking. All right, take care.